In this lecture, we will see what Git is. Git is a software tool and is a distributed version control and source code management system with an emphasis on speed. Git was initially designed and developed by Linus Torvald for Linux kernel development. Git is a free software distributed under the terms of the General Public License version. In a distributed version control system, Git focuses at enabling the share of code or the source code available across all team members. Like here, the three developers A, B, and C who are working together on a software package must be able to share their files so that it is ensured that they are always working on updated codes. The key difference of the distributed version control system as compared to the traditional version control system is that all developers have the entire code available on their local systems. They try to keep the entire code updated all the time. Now, it is the responsibility of the distributed version control server, which is Git in our case, to ensure that all the developers have the latest version updated on their local machines as that on the central distributed repository. It then allows the developers to have a peer-to-peer file sharing enabled with regular updates of the source codes. For instance, developer A modifies the code, makes some changes to a source code which is available in his local PC. Once he is done with the final updates to his code, he commits the changes to the distributed server. This newly committed file is now present in the distributed server. The key role of such a distributed system in this case is to intimate the other developers B and C about the new available versions and also update them in their local systems so that all are up to date with the latest versions of the source code. This is what Git does. It redistributes the changes to all the users connected to a common repository. Let's see in a bit detail on how this distributed version control system works. The developer at different locations start working and they make a copy of their source codes in a local environment. This local environment can be updated manually, means that anyone having access to the local repository can manually update the codes at their location. Then the codes from the local repository is pushed out into the Git repository. So the local repository always pushes out the latest codes. And then from the Git repository, you are then able to pull the latest updates. So the Git repository becomes the central repository for you. And then you can push updates and pull updates from this central repository. In this way, each developer connect to the Git repository has always the latest updates of the codes. As we know now what is Git, Git is a distributed version control system used for source code management. GitHub is a remote server for this source code management. All the team members of a project can connect to a Git server for this specific repository using GitHub. GitHub is designed as a Git repository hosting service and is exclusively cloud-based. You can share your code with others, giving them the power to make revision or edits. Let's talk about Git versus GitHub. Git is a software tool, whereas GitHub is a service. You install software locally on your computer system, whereas GitHub, being a service, is hosted on a web platform. Git is a software that is used to actually manage different versions of the source code, whereas GitHub is used to have a copy of the local repository stored on the website where it is hosted. Git provides a command line interface tool that allows you to interact with your files whereas the GitHub has a graphical interface that allows you to check in and check out the files.